Thank you to Dr. Monique Morris, Attorney General Becerra. Your work every day inspires all of us, and we are so grateful that you are here with us tonight. Thank you to all of you in this room for being here. Your countless pro bono hours, your financial support, and your solidarity means so much to us. And thank you to our community partners. I don't have the words to express how much you sustain us right now. I was planning to give a very different speech tonight. The weight of 2020 felt heavy even before it started. And then last week, we saw a shift in some of our cases that gave us hope. For years, Caltrans has taken and destroyed the belongings of unhoused people under bridges and freeways. They came without warning and took people's belongings and crushed them in trash compactors right in front of them. Patricia Moore is a former physical therapist. She became homeless after her son died and an injury prevented her from working. During one of their sweeps, Caltrans destroyed her wheelchair, her blanket, and her tent, literally taking the tent poles out of her hands. She was soon hospitalized with pneumonia, having been forced to sleep outside without protection. Last week, we settled our case. $1.3 million will go to compensating clients like Patricia, whose property was destroyed. And Caltrans will be under court order to give notice before they come, and they cannot destroy personal items, tents, or medications. Our immigrant justice work is some of our most challenging right now. We are all too familiar with the conditions that we've seen in Border Patrol detention centers. Many of our asylum clients came through those Arizona detention centers. They were held for days in freezing, overcrowded rooms without bedding or adequate food. They were forced to sleep next to toilets and denied medical treatment. Led by our clients, we took on Border Patrol. They told the court and the world what our government was doing. One of our plaintiffs said, "I felt I was less than other people. I was being treated practically like an animal. I had fear. I feared that I would freeze to death. I feared that I would that I would die of hunger. I would die of thirst. My little sister was there, and I felt I couldn't protect her." Our plaintiff spoke of her fears in court, and at a time when judges are being threatened by the President of the United States, our witness, who remains undocumented, stood up in court to change the conditions for other immigrants who would go through those detention centers. Last week, the judge found that the conditions our clients were held in violated the Constitution. With this permanent injunction, no one in the Tucson sector will be held for more than 48 hours without a bed to sleep in, blankets, a shower, potable water, proper food, and medical assessments. We each have fears. They seem to be multiplying these days. There are threats of special forces being deployed to sanctuary cities to target immigrants. Masked white supremacists marched through the streets of Washington, D.C. a few weeks ago. My fears take me to some very dark places. I worked in Rwanda. I helped to prosecute crimes in Sarajevo, which was once a shining example of inclusion. I start going through the checklist of things that happen when society descends into chaos, and I start comparing them to what is happening around us right now. I encourage us not to turn away from our fears. Fear is normal right now because what is happening around us is not normal. Let us not close our eyes to the government agents that are threatening and treating our clients as less than human. Let us look directly into the eyes of the white supremacists that are marching through our streets. Let them see our fear. Let them see our tears. And let them know that our hearts will not look away. We will walk towards the forces of hate that scare us. And we do not walk alone. We did not take on Customs and Border Patrol alone. We partnered with Morrison and Forrester, the National Immigration Law Center, American Immigration Council, and the ACLU of Arizona. At one point, the judge literally said, "Well, how many lawyers are there in this case anyway? They just keep popping up." And our attorney said, "One more now." We do not walk into these courtrooms alone. We fill them. 2020 is going to bring forth dehumanizing policies and try to strip away rights. But I ask you to resolve tonight that it will also bring all of us. We are going to fill courtrooms when the government comes after the communities that we serve. And when our clients ask how many of us there are, they will not see that we are just one more, but too many to count. I have to believe that we can do this. I know that you will join us in taking on the most heinous policies this administration will try to implement. The question I hold is, can we find possibility in this moment? Can we make sure that our children never face this moment again? Racism is woven into the fabric of our communities in this country. The possibility of this moment is that we commit to ending all of it. Let us not just fill courtrooms and the streets to fight the policies that are multiplying right now. Let us look around the racism in our communities and commit to dismantling it all. Every racist policy, practice, and action that we see. Let us end the policing of communities of color for going to school, for jaywalking, for driving, for sitting in front of their homes. Let us commit to ending discrimination in our schools, our school boards, our housing policies, and our justice system. And let us commit to examining and eradicating racism that we may have within ourselves. Let us commit to dismantling all of it. 2020 can be the year that we fear. It can also be the year that we transform that fear into a lifelong commitment to making sure that we do not end up here again. Let 2020 be that year. Thank you.